Hey guys! So I had a plan to put up just random Q&A videos where you guys asked me questions about anything, and then when I asked on my Insta stories for you guys to send me questions, I got like 20 questions about writing. So I am going to make my Q&A videos a series, and they're going to be thematic, apparently, and this one's theme is going to be writing. The first question is from Catherine Annie, and she asks, how do you keep writing when you lack motivation? And how do you tackle writer's block? Okay, those are two separate questions. How do I keep writing when I lack motivation is I think about how nice it is to be employed doing something that I love, and then I feel really guilty if I don't write. But how I kept writing before I was published was I would go into the bookstore and I would look on the shelf where my name would be alphabetically, and I would see who my book neighbors were, and that would kind of help me visualize it better and get more motivated. And I also watched a lot of videos and documentaries about writers on YouTube. The best ones I found were about J.K. Rowling. If you haven't seen it, she does this awesome commencement speech for Harvard for the class of, I think, 2008. Yeah, because that would have been my class, and I was really upset that I didn't transfer to Harvard so that she wasn't my commencement speaker. Anyway, I'll put the link in the description, but what you need to know is that, like, this speech, if you're ever lacking motivation to do anything, if you watch J.K. Rowling just, like, give advice to the graduating class of 2008 at Harvard, you will just butt in chairs, zoom through whatever task it is you need to do. Like, this speech is magic. Okay, and then writer's block. So this is gonna sound super embarrassing, but the best writing advice about writer's block that I ever heard was from the show Jane the Virgin. In season 1, there's like this episode where Jane is thinking about writing and she joins a writer's group, and there's this very astute piece of advice that she gets, which is, I'm sure, a piece of advice that the Jane the Virgin writer's room was passing around to each other, so like bear with me, but it's the problem is usually further back than you think. And this blew my mind. So whenever I'm writing and I'm struggling, I usually go back and start from page 1, and I'm like merciless, and I go through it and I think, is this necessary? Is this correct? Is there any other way that this scene could have gone? And usually when I find a scene and I think yes, it is like 20 pages back before the problem. It is not like 2 pages earlier. Des in Books asks, any advice for young writers like myself? Mostly I would say read the books that you really, really love, like your absolute favorites, a bunch of times. Like, don't just read them through once and enjoy reading them. Like, tear them apart, dissect these books, figure out what it is specifically that you like about them. Like, I guess thematically about Harry Potter, which I really loved when I was growing up. I figured out what I loved specifically about the Harry Potter books, and it wasn't just the magic. It was the boarding school element and the friend group, and then what I liked about the books, just like on a total macro level, is the length of the scenes that she writes. Like, to me, dialogue is my favorite part of a book. And once I figured that out, I was like, oh, okay, so in my own writing, I know that I want to hopefully stick to school stories, and I want to write about friend groups, and the way that I want to do this is I want to tackle it with scenes that have a lot of dialogue and run long. BookTube Goals asks, what is your writing process like? I have a different writing process for each book, and I would like to dream that my writing process is like, go to France, get a charming Airbnb, sit there for like a week and a half writing 15 pages a day, and then come home and have like 90% of a novel written, but that is not my process. I keep trying to make it my process, and it isn't. I'm a slow writer. I edit as I go. So yeah, I clean draft. I go through, I start every day and I sit down from like page 1 and I edit until I get to the place where I'm at, just so that I can figure out where the character's headspace is as I head into a scene. That's if I'm writing in tight first person. I typically, when I get further into the book, I don't have to start at page 1. I can start at like an act break. I can start at page 50 or page 100 or something roughly around there, and then read forward. I like to know kind of the pace and the tone of what comes before, so that I know what to put down next. Imagination Nerd asks, what have you found helps you like get in the zone for writing? I write while I listen to music, and I have these headphones. I have like trained myself. I have these huge noise canceling Bose headphones, and I put them on, and when I put them on, I know I'm supposed to focus. It's like having blinders on. I listen to songs on repeat. I have writing playlists. Right now, it has been like the Mulan soundtrack on repeat, which is just humiliating, and I shouldn't have admitted that. I mean, when you find out what book I'm working on, you'll be like, of course you're listening to the Mulan soundtrack on repeat, but yeah, I tend to like listen to soundtracks and things like that on repeat with my giant headphones, and that's how I know it is writing time. Victoria Nicole Johnson asks, what are your top 3 books from 2017? Cannot wait for yours. In no order, I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maurene, which if you're a fan of K-dramas and realistic fiction that is funny and charming, pick this one up. I also really enjoyed The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzi. This one was hysterical. I read a lot of really dense, boring, like travel, like 17th century fiction in college, and this is like the most delightful, fun version of that possible. And then Akata by Nnedi Okorafor. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I hope so. And this is just the paperback. I think the original hardcover came out a few years ago, but the sequel to this came out in 2017, so I was preparing. This is great. This is like a delightful kind of young YA, like upper middle grade series set in Nigeria in a secret world of magic, about a group of American and Nigerian friends who form like a coven, and it's just really inventive and really charming. I need to read more of her books. And last, Elsie Marie Gibson asks, are you turning any of your amazing books into films? Okay, so typically authors write their books and then Hollywood people turn those books into movies and the authors are not involved. And weirdly, with me, this hasn't been the case. We have sold film rights to the beginning of everything. The producers are BCDF Pictures. They're really great. I love their movies. I think they're smart. I think they're funny. And I think they totally get the book. They hired me as the screenwriter, which was amazing. So I adapted my own novel. Right now we have a director on the project who is awesome, and a lead actor, and I can't announce who it is, which is killing me, and we're casting other roles at the moment, which is what I am told. As somebody who is like somewhat included in this, but not fully included, but it's still not guaranteed that we're actually going to get a movie. We might just get really, really close. And then when it comes to Extraordinary Means, I think my agency is going over the contract now. Like, we closed a deal on it. So yes, there is going to be some movie news there as well, and this is also something that I'm involved in, and it's just a really weird story that involves Twitter and Pokemon, and I really can't explain. So those are all of the questions that I'm going to be answering in this video. I hope you guys learned some stuff about writing, and if you have some questions for me, be sure that you're following me on Twitter and on Instagram so that when I do another Q&A call, you can send me yours. And if I get a bunch, because I really only put it on my Insta stories and then I was so overwhelmed, I was like, oh my god, I should just stop here and answer these. But if I get a bunch, I might do some live Q&As or something on Insta stories as well. So let me know if you would like that in the comments, and I will see you guys with a new video next week. Bye!